Welcome to the final whistle with Coach Stevie G and my assistant coach. What is it? Nurse Freckles, isn't it? Nurse Freckles. Midwife Freckles. Well, we have a very, very special guest. But before we get into it, let me set the scene. There you go, Snapper. You look, you look very. Look at you. Mate,
I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure, Stevie G, but I think there was a shuttlecock in the jeans of that lead singer's pants when he was walking towards the camera. I remember those days.
I did try to have a look to see if I could jump on the internet and see how, how sometimes they can cut someone's head onto other characters as videos getting played. I did try to get your head put onto his, but I thought it was too much trouble, and I've left it out. But let me get into the intro because I've got to do the intro. Every grip has that one bloke who runs the show, that guy who organises the poker nights, the golf trips, the punters club, the race days, or who can turn a quiet pub catch-up into a full-scale operation. That is Snapper, the self-appointed control freak, the first to make a spreadsheet, the last to leave the bar. If there's a beer in one hand and a leaderboard in the other, he's in his element. A West Tigers tragic with a tattoo on his back that looks suspiciously like a panther. Snapper's got the presence of a German marching band playing Eye of the Tiger at full volume. He wins just about everything he enters except that one comp that somehow has been out of his reach, the Garrard's Gold Footy Tipping Competition. Will this be his year? Maybe. Snapper, welcome to the final whistle.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Stephen. I hope I can live up to all your expectations. Good evening, sports fans.
And I expect there'll be thousands upon thousands watching the stream. Actually, I can see up in the corner here we have one. We have one person.
Oh, what 1,000?
You've only got one friend?
No, I don't even know who that person would be.
Well, here it is. We can't see the video. It was blank. It was a blank screen. Oh no! So basically, whoever missed it, because obviously I'm a bit of a novice when it comes to these sort of things, but it was Eye of the Tiger. So if it didn't show on the video, it was Eye of the Tiger that was playing. If you don't know by his singlet, and if he takes his shirt off and shows us his back, he's got a big West Tigers tattoo on his back. So it was Eye of the Tiger for Snapper being a Tigers fan.
The days of me taking my shirt off in public, Stephen, have disappeared. The Tiger was done in 2006 after our premiership, but now the poor thing looks like it's had a little bit of a stroke, I think.
It might have had something to do with the night of. You probably were close to having a stroke yourself, I would have thought. You would have celebrated hard.
I had a couple. I was down at Bateman's Bay at the time when we won the premiership. I had half of the club back at my place after the game, cooking a barbecue, drinking beer. It was very enjoyable. Unlike a lot of you Parramatta supporters who probably went and had a Happy Meal when you won a competition back in 86.
We've celebrated many, many grand final appearances. We just haven't been able to celebrate much more.
Well, mate, you'll get it. And when you do, it'll feel special, I'm sure.
Now, we spoke on the way home from my trip to organise today's interview. So I know the answer, but tell the thousands, what's your plans for Anzac Day, Snapper?
Still not 100% sure. Probably Tooney Sports. The chairman, Dwayne Gorey's club down there, puts on a pretty good day. There'll be an array of people there, and if I get there, I'll organise a punters club and we'll get the bets going big time in the TAB. But I'm not 100% sure at the moment, Stephen, but that's probably the best bet.
So you're taking the computer to get the spreadsheet ready? Is that what you're saying?
I will have a spreadsheet. I'll probably take my laptop with me, and I'll take a tablet as well, just in case the battery runs out. I'll have something organised.
Beautiful. Well, that question was supposed to be around the West Tigers and Parramatta game, but I've thrown in the Anzac question in there because obviously that was last week, or
yes, it was.
So what were your thoughts? I mean, obviously not getting the win, but last week's game?
An experienced halfback won a game of football for a team, and the worst refereeing I have ever seen. The referees didn't cost the Tigers the game, but the refereeing was disgraceful. How's a bloke get on report forceful contact in the first 2 seconds, not even penalised? And then your Parramatta fullback, how did he end up in the sin bin?
Yeah.
Actually, Tigers, I was disappointed with the referee. It didn't cost us the game, didn't help us, but yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I said the same thing watching the game. There was a few calls both ways, but you guys in a couple of crucial moments, I think, got the bad end of the stick. But that's football, as we all know. This week, tonight's game, who is it? It's Brisbane Bulldogs. Who have you got? Well, I know we were talking about. Well, I know I was talking about changing my tip, but have you locked anything in? I hope you've locked something in, actually.
I've locked it in, but I wouldn't like to discuss my tip until the game kicks off, because all these people out there might jump over after. I think I'm working on a due for system. Brisbane are due for a good performance, and the Bulldogs are due for a loss. So going on that, Broncos by 2 at home. I have a theory in tipping. I don't stick with it, but I do have a theory. Well, if there's a game of football being played that you're not 100% sure who's going to win, you take the home team. Right. I don't always stick with it, but it usually works.
There's one person that is watching, because she's made a comment, and she's very nervous for every game that she picks. So hopefully that's thrown a cat amongst the pigeons, and now she's reconsidering and quickly jumping on her phone trying to work out what pick she's going to pick, because she is a little bit nervous when it comes to the footy tipping. But I'm going to hand over to Beck. She can do the next question, because I need to remind our kids about our footy tipping.
No, what?
Have they done it? So, or do you want to run and just tell the kids to do their tips if they haven't done it? What are we moving on? What's the story behind the nickname, Snapper? I know the story behind the nickname, and I know you've had a couple of nicknames, so I'm happy for you to elaborate outside of just the nickname Snapper. But tell us your nickname.
I've had quite a few nicknames through my life. Some of them I'm not allowed to mention on public screenings like this, but my surname is German, and it's Brabender, spelled Brabender. But a lot of people look at my name, and all they see is Brabender. So I'm playing golf with a good friend of ours, Fat Man, one day, and he starts coming up with all these smart ass comments about my surname. And I turned around and just said to him, "Look, Pete, if you can come up with something original, I'll wear it for the rest of my life." So about 3 weeks later, he comes up with his stupid little grin on his face, and he goes, "Bra Snapper." And I've gone, "Yeah, okay, not bad, but can I just shorten it to Snapper, and I'll wear that for the rest of my life." So Peter, the Fat Man, who is in the tipping comp as well, he's in the top 10 at the moment, I think, from memory, is the man that gave me the Snapper nickname.
Yep, he's actually remember going to one of the Ream Sunday golf and meeting you for the first time, being introduced with that exact name, being Bra Snapper. Well, so yep, there is definitely truth to it. Now you had another nickname that I think I've seen it on your email or something before.
Yeah.
What was that?
During my 30s and 40s, a group of mates were calling me Razzle Dazzle.
That's it, Razzle.
Which was then shortened to Razzle, which was then shortened to Raz.
Yep.
Before that, I've had Fender Bender, which was then shortened to Fender, and a couple of others that we won't mention on public screenings.
Have you had any nicknames?
Me? Yeah, SB, Stevie G, all the nicknames. I even get called a redhead these days, which you haven't heard the boys that call me bloody. all sorts. I've got there's plenty nicknames.
Who does that, Steve? Who does that?
Might be one Chad Harris, but he's already told me there's no chance of getting him on this final whistle. But yes, somehow I've been labelled as a redhead.
I remember the day. I remember the first day I met you, Stevie.
Yeah.
We're out on the golf day up on the balcony having a beer at Sanctuary Cove.
Yep.
And people were calling you SG, which is what most people call you. But for some reason, once I heard your name was Stephen, I started calling you Stevie G after Stephen Garrard from the Liverpool soccer fame.
Yep.
And that's how I've always known you as, Stevie G. That's
Yep.
your name as far as I'm concerned.
Yep, I've been called G-Man, Stevie G, G. There's been plenty of different nicknames throughout, similar to yourself, but they're all around the same thing. It's just different iterations of the same thing. But there you go. So tell everyone what you do for work, Snapper. If there's any people out there wanting to employ, not that you're employable, you're very comfortable in your job, but tell everyone, how do you answer that question? What do you do, Snapper?
I think I'm comfortable in the job. The board say I have the full support of the board, so I feel very comfortable within my job for the next 3 weeks. I work for a company called Sphere Security and Automation. We import security items such as CCTV, gate video entry systems, alarm systems, all of that sort of stuff. So if anybody's looking for anything like that, Stevie G will give you my number and I'll look after you like you're a friend. Yep,
and you've sorted a number of the boys out with just the home domestic security systems.
Yeah,
obviously, your corporation does a lot more than just the domestic stuff, but you've always sorted guys out with the cameras for their home.
Yep. Fat Man posted some videos of him chasing down a criminal the other day.
You got to remind me. Because I was a little complicated last Thursday, I forgot to ask him about that. But I said on the chat when he posted it, I need to find out the backstory behind that video, and I'm still yet to hear it. So save that.
So funny watching Ronda run up. Should I? No. Should I? No. Oh, Peter's on the ground. He might be in trouble. And go and kick the guy square in the ribs. I could have given him those cameras for nothing, and that would have been worth it. Just that little bit of footage.
I can't wait to hear the full story. Now, holiday plans, Snapper. Where have you been? You've been in any decent holidays to talk about, or you got some destinations that are coming up in the 2025 year?
Going to America in June for my brother's getting married for the second time. Yeah, second time in America. He lives in America.
Yeah,
got a winery in Virginia. He's met a lovely girl over there. They're getting married in June, and that's where I'm going.
Yeah, amazing. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
What made your brother go to America to start with?
The woman that he's marrying.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, my brother, he's never likes being in one place at a time. Last time he got married, he just went over to Perth and decided to get married when he got over there. This time he's gone over to America, and loving every minute of it. Bought himself a winery over there, which he's turning into a what's the word? Microbrewery as well.
Yeah, right.
So, has he ever dabbled in that before?
Sorry?
Has he ever dabbled in that before? Or is this something?
No. He's one of those people that'll have a crack at anything. No such thing as a bad idea until it doesn't work, which isn't a bad theory sometimes.
Snapper's got a quote and a saying for every situation. He loves it. You do. Hey, I'll get in trouble if I don't talk about the chat. So Leah's, as you would have seen on the screen, if you can see it, she said that Michelle, being my sister, she's got a new fridge which has a TV on it. So it's all very fancy. So apparently she's streaming this live on a fridge, in a car, and on the TV at home. So there you go.
So your sister's got me on her fridge. Is that what she's saying? Well, I told you.
What about Ray?
Did I miss Ray?
Ray said, "This guy's a champion. I can tell."
So Ray's a Tigers tragic as well, Snapper. His birthday yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? Yesterday. So happy birthday, Raymond.
Happy birthday, Ray. Go to Mighty Tigers.
He was at the game and he actually got the field passes. So he was down in the he's down living up the good life, right down on the ground. Unfortunately, the result wasn't the result he probably wanted, but I'm sure he enjoyed the day anyway.
I wanted to go out to the game, Ray, but all of the Parramatta supporters that I knew weren't willing to go out there, but they all seemed to want to send me messages and phone calls on Monday afternoon, which I found normal for a Parramatta supporter.
I thought you were going with Coyle. Wasn't that?
No, he didn't want to be a part of it until the Galvin problems, and then everybody wanted a part of it.
The rumour had it that I thought Troy Coyle was going with you. There you go. So the next question on the list, because I've got to get through these, because there's we've got to.
Sorry, am I talking too much? I apologise.
Not at all, but I know we've got a poker game to get to as well after this stream. So, and you being the man of the moment, organises all that. So if you're not there, it falls apart.
Chad's the administrative genius of poker, please, Stevie. Make sure you say that. Chad, the Monster Harris, is the administrative genius of our poker.
He has the black book to prove it.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, I owe him $20 for last week, which I still get to pay. I'm surprised I didn't get a friendly reminder. But moving on to the questions: favorite book or movie, or I've got here favorite music artist or band. So you can go through all of them if you like. Book, movie, music, artist.
No one real book. Big fan of James Patterson books when he was writing prolifically in regards to detective stories. Movie, I'm not going to say what everybody else says in Shawshank Redemption, although I do understand it. A good movie. Toy Story. Loved Toy Story.
Which one? There are 5 to choose from.
Toy Story, the original movies are always the best.
Okay.
Music, anything in the 80s, 90s reminds me of my younger days being out and about and having a good time in Sydney, because that was the time to be out and about in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, that's it. Music. Artists, no one. Picasso, good bloke. Met him once back in the day.
Did you meet him?
Yeah. We went to high school together, me and we used to call him Picky because he always drew pictures.
Yeah, right. Very, very good. Sound like you're going to ask a question? No? So next one we've got here. Matthew.
This one.
Which one? What's that?
What's something most people in the comp would be surprised to know about you?
Oh, I didn't know about that.
A lot of the people in the comp would be surprised to know anything about me because I only know a small amount. But I actually had a bit of a thought about this. I have represented New South Wales in 3 sports during my life.
Wow,
I played in primary school, I played rugby league and cricket for New South Wales, and in high school, I played tennis for New South Wales in CHS competition. Yeah, so there you go. I've represented the state 3 times.
Yeah, that's impressive.
You ever picked up a squash racket?
Yeah.
Yep. Just not New South Wales.
Just not for New South Wales. No.
I actually remember, now you've said that, I do remember you telling me about your tennis days. I don't think hearing that I'll give you a crack on the tennis court, but maybe on a squash court I'll have a hit with you. Mate,
you could play me on any court at the moment at my age, mate, and you'd have a good chance. That's
all right, because if and when I do play you and beat you, I'll be able to say, well, I beat the New South Wales champion.
I didn't say I was a champion. I said I represented.
Yeah, well,
he was selective with his words.
Yeah, I can elaborate. If you were appointed the footy tipping commissioner, what would be the first rule change in our comp? So this is Garrard's Gold Footy Tipping Comp. So if you're the commissioner to change something, what would it be?
You know what? There wouldn't be much I'd change, Stephen. I think you do a wonderful job with the competition, but I would look at the last man standing not starting on the Vegas weekend. We've actually had this conversation before.
Yeah.
I would look at moving the last man standing to kick off in round 3 or 4.
Yep.
And it would then progress a lot longer. The having to make a selection in that first round when it's spread out over 2 weeks makes it a very difficult situation. But apart from that, mate, it's an outstanding tipping comp. I enjoy every moment of it. I enjoy the banter. I don't know about most of the other guys, but I go onto all of your updates and everything. I keep a close tab on the Dally M's, being the original sponsor of the event.
Yes.
Which some other people within this could probably kick a few dollars in to help you guys out with buying maybe laptops that don't break down and make technical difficulties. But yeah,
Very
I
good.
do enjoy it.
I appreciate that. I will be taking that feedback on board because you have mentioned it before, and there has been a couple of other people suggest that, based on the fact that having to tip without knowing what the team lists are is annoying. So it will be like that next year. So I will start it later. How late, if it's round 3, 5, or what week I start it, but it will be definitely later. But appreciate
my protest was this year, Stephen, when I didn't go in the last man standing, and you sent me a message going, "Why aren't you going in last man standing?" I said, "No, shouldn't start in round 1. So when you fix that, then I'll come back and do it."
Yeah, right.
And then now look what happens. You let someone like Chad Harris win last man standing. You could have been that guy to stop him.
Just goes. Well, I stopped him last year. I didn't put his tip in.
Do you want to tell that story?
Yeah. What was there? 10 people left.
It was 3 people left. It was my sister. She ended up winning it last year.
Was it only 3? No, I think there was more than that. But anyway, Chad was on a cruise in New Zealand, and because apparently phone calls from the cruises are so expensive, Renee allowed him 1 phone call. So he's rung me up one day. I think I was only at work. He's rung me up and he says, "Can you do me a favour? Can you send SG a text message for my last man standing tip?" "Yeah, sure, not a problem, mate." So he sent it to me, and I just totally forgot about it, and he got knocked out. And yeah, he never forgave me for
the first game of the tip that he would have picked would have got through. So it could have been Michelle and him head to head, and he could have been 2. You could have been back to back last man standing champions. There you go.
There you go. Oh, I was devastated, but I got over it very quickly.
So who's your current and past favourite players? I'm actually interested in this. I could have a stab at it, but I don't know if I know the answer.
Current favourite player playing the game. I'm not really a favourite. I like styles of players. Like, I'm a big fan of, they're not playing at the moment, but blokes like Boyd Cordner and Matt Gillette are rugby league players. They're not athletes. There's a big difference in the game now where they're athletes, they're not footballers. Blokes like Boyd Cordner, Matt Gillette were footballers. Who'd be my favourite player now? Not a Tigers player. Love Happy Carousel, but no. Favourite player would probably be Luke Brooks.
Okay, yep.
Luke Brooks. I've always had a high opinion of Luke Brooks. But no one else. Favourite player of all time would be Garrard Jack.
Yep, okay. Yeah, I liked I didn't really think too much of Luke Brooks, apart from, the obvious comments that you would make about him when he was with the Tigers. But when he moved over to Manly, I thought he really added something that they needed in Manly. And I think, in my respect as a footballer, a lot more playing that assistant role to DCE than he did when he was leading the Tigers around the park. But he wasn't really leading the Tigers around the park, but
well, he wasn't doing it successfully anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
But all the guys always used to give me crap, when are you going to get rid of him? He's not doing anything for you. And my reply was always, I do not want Luke Brooks to leave the club for him to become the footballer that I believe he can be.
Yep.
But I still don't think he's been successful at Manly. I don't think he's done what they wanted. He's done well, but nowhere to the level that I think that they wanted.
Okay. I see him playing a role that Hunt's playing at the moment at Brisbane, which we'll be watching tonight. But I think I can see your point. But yeah, I do rate him. I do rate Luke Brooks. On to the comments, because if I don't do it, I'll get in trouble. Like I said, assistant coach's uniform. What did you say? Look, assistant coach in uniform. So
I did make this special effort just for you, Michelle.
So let me just. That's there we go. She's got my Parramatta Eels Hawaiian shirt on. What else? Ray, not true, always loyal. That's to Ray's comment about Para supporters not being loyal.
No, only being loyal when they win.
Oh, only being loyal when they win. And then Michelle's saying Snapper, she's taking the medal this year. So there you go.
I'm not sponsoring it this year, Michelle. So frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
There's a movie quote.
There's a quote from a movie I saw when I was back in my 20s.
There you go. There you go. What else we got? So we did the current and past player. What's your favourite footy memory as a fan?
Favourite, the run that Balmain made in '88 to get to the grand final.
Okay.
With Ellery Hanley. They came 5th. Ellery Hanley tore Manly apart, tore the Broncos apart, got into the grand final, and Terry Lamb tore Ellery Hanley apart. But yeah, that was a great ride, that final series. Similar to what 09 would be for you, a great ride.
Yeah, I remember that really clearly. I was going to say, but my footy knowledge is fairly basic, although I do listen to a lot, I just don't retain a lot. You guys didn't win that grand final. That's what you were alluding to, weren't you, in '88?
In '88, they were on a roll. And, yeah, they could have won. They were on such a roll, they could have done it. They had a great forward pack. They had an international half. They had probably one of the best players going around at the time in Ellery Hanley. Gary Jack at fullback. They had a team good enough to win it, but it just didn't happen. I
was listening to Matty Johns and his son's podcast, and they were talking about those days, the '88, and how good. What's his name? What's the winger's name that you were saying? Ellery. What's his? Ellery Hanley. He was playing in the centres. Oh, was he? Was he a winger as well? That was Wings of Fire, Martin of Fire. Chariots. That's right. But they were talking about both of them, and it's another really good podcast. If you haven't listened to it or watch it, the Johns, Matty Johns and his son, it's a good listen. They do have
Trish is on there too.
Yep, they do a family one, but there's also there's a family one, then there's one that's really focused on footy, and they talk with the boys like other people. Right. Right, lucky me, LMS. I don't know what that's about. Last man standing. That's because of your story about Chad. The last question in this section. What's your biggest heartbreak?
1989 grand final.
No, we're not talking about football now. No, we are. I'm just joking.
Sorry. Oh, anything else?
Vicky's not there, is she? You don't want to call Vicky over.
Biggest heartbreak, 89 grand final.
Okay.
We had that. We deserved that, and we lost it. Funny story, I didn't go out to the game. I was at a mate's place for a barbecue, and game finished. I got up. I walked out, and about a kilometre down the road was a bottle shop. I went in there, and I bought 2 cases of, unfortunately back then, VB, put them over my shoulders.
I remember that.
I was young. I was young and not rich. So put them over my shoulders, walked all the way back to the party, dropped a case of beer in front of the other guys. I said, there you go, that's yours. Grabbed the other case, walked out the back, and just sat there and just opened a beer. Opened a beer. That was devastating to be that close to winning a game and losing it. Yeah, that one hurt.
Remind me, was that against Canberra?
That was against Canberra when Chicka Ferguson scored a try with a minute to go, and then Peter Jackson got a $400,000 a year contract from scoring a try and playing on the Gold Coast and never doing anything else ever again.
Yeah, that was the start of the Green Machine run. I do actually remember that. There's not a lot that I do remember.
Great team.
But I do. That's gone down as one of the best grand finals from what I've heard.
People keep saying it. One of the best tries I've ever seen scored in the grand final.
Yep.
Roach took the ball down the blind side on the 5th tackle, got the ball out to Andy Courier, who got it out to James Grant, threw it back inside, I think, to Gary Jack, who gave it to Paul Sirinen, who ran 30 metres carrying one bloke over the line. Great football try.
Yes, I do remember it well. There's not a lot that I remember, but I do remember that 89 grand final quite well. So I've got a question. My sister, she's active on the chat. Ask Snapper about what he thinks about the Tiger dramas at the moment. We were having a talk off screen, but how would you summarise the last, what would you say, week and a half of drama with the West Tigers? Obviously, related to Actually, you could even say your headline, although it's been used many, many times by the media already. But
Which one?
you remember the headline you were going to use is the...
Yeah, but it didn't happen, so I can't use that headline. Look, I don't think you're getting the full story of what's happening behind the scenes. The guy who is managing Lachlan Galvin has done it many times to many clubs. I don't think he's advising the kid well. At times, I don't think the club's handling it overly well, which surprises me with a person like Shane Richardson. But I've been informed by Coach Steve that there's been a podcast or an interview with James Graham aired today that I haven't seen that puts light on a few things. It's disappointing. The club is on the rise. They've bought well, and something like this happening isn't great. But I am positive that in the long run, that something like this happening will galvanise the Tigers in seasons to come.
There it is. Boom, boom.
I did say, sorry, Stevie, if I'm rattling on a bit, but I did say weeks ago to the blokes that Lachlan Galvin, to me, should not be the priority signing of the Tigers for the future. Latu Fanu is a far more better prospect at halfback with Luai. And if Luai's going to be there for 5 years, Luai and Galvin play too similar football. I'd never thought that those two were going to match. So Galvin, to me, wasn't going to be the priority. But if the Tigers go and offer a local junior $1 million to play football for him and knocks it back, it gets you worried about what's happening at the club.
Yep. No, good, very good summary. And you will enjoy that. As I said to you earlier, you will enjoy that podcast because he goes into a bit of detail. It doesn't start talking about players, but without spoiling too much of it. And not that I can spoil it because he does talk about a whole lot of different subjects that I think you'll be interested in. But one of his justifications for the stance and the decision he's made is the future over the next 2, 3, 5 years regarding who they need and purchase. And basically his justification for offering him the deal so early was that he needs to start thinking about and making decisions on other players. And he can't do that without securing his marquee player, which is Galvin at the time. So there's 5 or 6 other players that he wants to lock in that he couldn't until he got a decision. And that sort of talks to your point that there are some other signings that the club needs to make, and he could.
The West Tigers need a back rower.
Yep.
Alex Seaforth is a middle forward, and he's nothing else. He's doing a good job in a position that doesn't suit his game, but they need an edge back rower, and we need a centre.
There's a really good one at the Warriors that would fit perfectly. That might just tie into the whole Galvin Brown swap. Have you heard about it?
Not the Warriors. I've heard at the Knights.
No. Oh, yeah, Knights.
Pierce Paul. Yeah, I've heard that theory. Yep,
Yeah,
I've heard that, yeah.
But anyway, we'll see how it all unfolds.
There's also a pretty good halfback at Manly that's up for offers that wouldn't be too bad to get in a club like West Tigers for 2 years.
Yep, well, he's
daily.
Yeah, he's on the market.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. Well, I'm going to skip past, unless you want to talk to your stats. I did say to you, and apologies again, I dropped the ball and I haven't done your stats for the Footy Tipping Comp.
That's all right, mate. My stats are outstanding.
We did talk about it. Do you want to
tipping comp stats, sorry.
share with the thousands of people your justification for not yet being up trophy worthy yet, which does surprise me to be quite honest. I think you will be. You've got people like Darren Wright and Chad Harris winning the tipping comp. I mean, how can they win the tipping comp without someone like Snapper Racing winning it?
Mate, it goes to show it's a pin the tail on the donkey thought process. If incompetent fools like Darren Wright can win a tipping comp, really, anybody can do it. And no, Michelle, Luai doesn't suck.
And what else you got? I didn't know you could see that. Let's go here. Luai into all up to his eyeballs. Luai into it all up to his eyeballs. Anyway, we know what she's saying. He's into it. Whatever. And then Snappers has the same opinion as me on the Tigers. There you go.
Raymond, you're a very intelligent man. I would like to have a beer with you one day and organise a tipping comp with you.
Just bring your laptop. He loves a good spreadsheet.
Bring your laptop and your wallet.
Yeah, and check your emails daily because he loves a good email as well. All right, we're going to get into the rapid fire questions. Although they haven't necessarily been too rapid, but we'll go through the 10 questions and let's see what Snapper's got. Greatest NRL player of all time, Snapper?
That I've watched play, that I've seen.
Yeah, however you want to interpret it.
Greatest player of all time, Jonathan Thurston.
Okay, wow. I'm interested to hear you elaborate. Although it's not really rapid now, but I want to hear why Jonathan Thurston.
Jonathan Thurston would put effort, would run from one corner of the field all the way to the other corner of the field just to make that little bit of difference. And I never saw blokes like Andrew Johns or Darren Lockyer or Cameron Smith do that. He would run to get to a spot to possibly make a difference where other blokes don't do that. That's why.
Did Gutho ever come into consideration? Because he does that.
Mate, I was thinking about him. And Gutho's had a horse named after him and all that, but Thurston just touches him a little bit, mate. Just touches him out.
Just beat him to the post, so to speak. Boom, boom. All right. Best current player in the NRL?
Cleary. Really. You can't go past it. He dominates games and.
Yep. Can't disagree.
Who's the biggest grub in the game?
Going by Michelle, it was Jonathan Thurston. But biggest grub in the game, Isaac Moses.
Great answer. Very good interpretation of the question. Love it.
I don't get it.
He's the player manager.
Oh.
He's behind. He's the man. Do you want to read the next one?
What's one NRL rule that you would change instantly?
I've had this thought process for many years since Melbourne brought in the tackle, the wrestle in the tackle, changed the 10-metre rule to 7. Then the players don't have to worry about slowing the play down for the rest of the team to get back 10. The wrestle only began during the 10-metre rule when the play the balls and everything like that. So my thought process would change 10 metres to 7 and to quicken the game up a lot more.
Do we change the line markings on the field to reflect that rule change?
It makes it easier. If it makes it easier for the officials to fuck up all their other questions, yes.
So how does that work out on a 100-metre pitch? That'll be interesting, and I'm not going to try to do the maths on that right now.
Well, what we do is we play on a 98-metre pitch. I think that's the maths works, but yeah.
Yeah. Golden point or extra time?
Draw.
Draw being so.
Draw. Final full time, 80 minutes. Draw.
Yep. Okay. Do you want to do the next one?
Best bet of the round.
Of this round?
Yep.
Had some good bets for the last round that they didn't work. Best bet of this round. I don't really know who's playing. Tigers to beat the Sharks at Leichhardt. Specials on a Sunday afternoon, 4 o'clock, God's country.
Yeah.
And Chad, if you're watching this, give me a call. We'll have a bet.
There's no chance Chad's watching this, but be interesting to see what Chad's doing for the game.
I offered him to go out, and he said no.
Oh, that's right. Last week he was somewhat interested on Thursday night when we were chatting about it. So next one, who wins the premiership in 2025?
2025, probably going to be very open. I'll say Melbourne Storm. If I was betting with my last $10, I'd go Melbourne Storm. But I'd like to see someone different. Bulldogs. I'd like to see the Bulldogs win it. Wouldn't mind seeing the Sharks win it, but yeah, I think Melbourne Storm.
I'm going to throw in a new question before Beck asks the next one. Where do you think Penrith will win this year? Finish this year? Do you see them making the 8? Do you see them making a run for it?
They're too good not to make a run. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be very congested. A lot of teams are going to have an opportunity with 6 rounds to go to make the 8. I think Penrith will be one of them, and I think they'll get there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think they will, because there's going to be so many teams around there winning and losing games. And if Penrith can get on a run, anybody, even Parramatta, can make the 8.
Come on now.
Yeah, true. Sorry. I was getting a little bit carried away there.
I do have them making a bit of a run. I think they will make a run.
Who, Parramatta or Penrith?
No, Parramatta. I don't see Penrith getting the 8 from here.
Don't you?
No, but I would think it'll be a massive effort if they do. But yeah, I can see Parramatta making a run, but I don't think they'll make the 8 either. But anyway,
Isn't Parramatta and Penrith on the same amount of points at the moment?
Yeah, we are. Yep.
Would you say the roster at Penrith's better than the roster at Parramatta?
I would.
Yeah, well, why do you think Parramatta is going to make the 8 but not Penrith?
No, I don't think Parramatta will make the 8. I think we'll make a run for it.
Oh, okay.
I think Penrith will make a run for it too, but I think they'll fall short.
And I think it's going to be very congested between 6 and 12.
Here you go. I'll make a bold call. I think Parramatta and Penrith will fight out for the 8th spot, and I think for 9th spot, because I don't think either will make the 8. It'll be fighting out for 9th spot, Parramatta and Penrith will beat us on for and against.
Wow, you're testing my memory to think of that one when it happens. But
it's been recorded, so you can hold me to it. There you go. I don't think either will make the 8, and I think we'll both finish on the same points. You heard it here first. Breaking news.
Breaking news, sports fans.
Snapper, who's going to get the wooden spoon this year?
I'd love to see the Roosters get it, but Titans maybe. Probably the biggest underachieving club in the comp.
Okay.
I'd like to see Roosters get it too, just because one of our friendly favourites on here, who's somehow not on here today, is a Roosters supporter. So it'd be nice to.
She, the person we're talking about is Lisa Muras, and out of all the final whistles, I think she's had the most views of people watching the show. So I think she's boycotting because there is a strong rumor that Snapper is going to absolutely blow up YouTube and the internet with this interview. So I do expect many, many views to come from this interview, and I think she's boycotting for that reason.
What did Lisa wear when she was on this to get all the views?
That's a very good question. That is not a question I can remember. Was she wearing a jersey?
No, I don't think she did.
I don't think she wore a jersey.
Did she wear anything or?
Well, I think I'd remember that. I think I would remember if Lisa wasn't wearing clothes.
What Stephen's not saying is she has viewed her own video.
Oh, she's viewed her own video 50 times. Okay, can you do that?
Yeah, it doesn't quite work like that, but we'll stick with that as the reason. That's a good one. And then the final one, we've done that one, haven't we? Who's going to win? No, have we? No. So who's going to win the tipping comp in 2025, except for yourself?
Well, I know who won't.
Yeah, go on.
Steve Dolan.
Okay.
Couldn't win anything, even if he was trying. Who's going to win it? I don't know. Who's on top? Mitch
Scaife. Jack's one of Jack's mates, my young bloke's mate.
I'll give you who's going to win it because they're going to have a really good year. Right? Fat Man will win it because he'll back the Bulldogs every week.
Yep.
And they're having a good year. So
yeah,
that would be my tip. He's up there in the top 10. But Steve Dolan can't win. Right? Well, I was at a club one afternoon with him.
Mm.
Blokes walked up, gone to sell the first lot of tickets to Dolo, and Dolo's gone to grab the book, and I've said, no, wait. I'm going to buy one. You can't have the whole book. I bought one ticket, he bought the whole book, and I won the raffle. That's how bad Steve Dolan is.
Yeah, he has got a bit of a reputation, and it keeps proving itself correct, doesn't it? It's amazing. Michelle says, I'm so disappointed she hasn't made an appearance, being Lisa, I'm assuming. And last question on the extremely fast rapid fire round of questions. If you could host a barbecue and invite 3 people, who would they be?
Greg Norman, Tiger Woods, and Linda Lovelace.
Who's Linda Lovelace?
I'm trying to think who that is.
Is that a porn star?
I think she's taking the piss somehow, but I'm trying to.
No. She was an actress.
She's a porn.
Back in the 70s or 80s. Starred in a movie called Deep Throat, I think it was.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to elaborate on what are you cooking on the what are you barbecuing?
Sausage.
Probably do a sausage sizzle, I suppose.
Yeah. What the short ones, the thick ones, the thin ones, the skinny ones? What are we doing?
Steven's size doesn't matter, mate.
Doesn't it?
No.
You can't say that because that makes it sound like that I've got no size.
Oh.
Well, if there's one way to finish an interview, that has to be it. I really appreciate it, Snapper. Thanks for your patience last week. Apologies it all went pear-shaped. It nearly did go pear-shaped again this week.
Yeah, that's all right, mate. Not a problem. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, Beck, for your time. Stevie G, the board have said that your position is fully supported, so you'll be there for another 2 weeks.
Beautiful. Another 2 weeks is all I need. But thank you again. Jump online, leave a comment, let us know what you think. If you're interested in jumping on the next final whistle, let me know. Happy to have you on. And as I always say, keep your tips smart, your banner sharp, and remember, it's all fun and games until the final whistle. You'd think I'd get a new whistle, wouldn't you, Snapper?
Well, I did suggest that to you the other week, didn't I?
You did. Thanks, mate.
Thank you very much, mate. Enjoyed it.